What we're going to do now is we're going to be dividing rationals. When we're dividing rationals, the first thing that we have to do is we have to flip the second term. This is going back to junior high where you have 2/3 divided by 1/4. And remember, that's the same thing as 2/3 times 4/1. We're going to do the same thing. So if you're looking at letter A, what we have is x to the third, y to the 10th, over x to the 5th, y. We're changing the division to multiplication. And what we're doing is we're flipping this second term. So x cubed y to the 4th over x squared y to the 3rd. Now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply across. So 3 and 3 gives us 6. 10 and 4 gives us 14. 5 and 2 gives us 7. And 1 and 3 gives us 4. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to subtract. We're going to see which one's greater. Our denominator is greater, so that means the x goes on the bottom. And there's one more. Here, the 14 is greater than the 4, so that means the y goes on top, and it would be 10 more. That right there is our first answer. Now remember, we have excluded values. Excluded values for monomials is always the same. But this time, x cannot equal 0, and y cannot equal 0. The reason that we have y is because we have an x and a y. And that right there would be our second answer. Now, if we're looking at our second one, we're going to do the exact same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to flip it. So we have x minus 7. We have 12, x to the 5th. Changing it to multiplication. It was division, now it's multiplication. We're going to flip it. 6x to the 3rd. And then what we have is x minus 7, x plus 7. Now for the fun part. What we're going to do is we're going to cancel. X minus 7's cancel. The 6 and the 12 cancel. The 3 and the 5 cancel. So what we're left with is x over 2 x squared. And then what we have is x plus 7. Now, if you're paying attention, what you'll notice is that we still have x's. So we have to simplify it some more. That gives us 1 over 2x, x plus 7. And some of you might be thinking, couldn't you have done that at the beginning? Yep, I could have done it at the beginning. So I could have canceled those, and that would have made it a little bit easier. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at our excluded values. So with the excluded values, once again, it's what gives us 0 in the denominator. So what we have is x cannot equal 0 from right here. And then what we have is 7 and negative 7. But we're not done, because if you look right here, we have to include that because it was once on the bottom. The nice thing is that's a monomial, just like that one's a monomial. So we could put 0 twice, but we're only going to put it once. Now, looking at letter C, once again, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same step as before. We're going to flip it. First term always stays the same. You change it to multiplication, and we're flipping it. Now, when we're looking at it, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see what is going to cancel. We have the x plus 8s. Those cancel. We have the x plus 5s. Those cancel. We're looking at, I was hoping the 9s would cancel, but they're on the same side. And if we're looking at the 1s, those are on the same side, but those are opposites, so we can't cancel them. We can cancel the numbers. This becomes a 1, this becomes a 2. This becomes a 3. This right here becomes an 8. And so what we have is we have x minus 1. We have x plus 1. We have 2 times 8, which is 16. We have an x minus 9 and another x minus 9. So I'm going to put a squared right there because that means that there's 2 of them. That right there gives me my answer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with my excluded values. When I'm looking at my excluded values, I'm looking to see what gives me 0 for the denominator. X cannot equal. I have a negative 8. I have a positive 9. I have another positive 9. I'm not going to write it again. I have a negative 5. Remember, I also have to look at the original. So what I have is another negative 5. I already have a negative 5. And I have a negative 1. There's a lot of excluded values with dividing.